Clearly, the marker here of success that we've anchored on for years was largely like traffic and then having some sort of loose correlation to revenue. The attribution model is broken. Traffic is not the thing.
Traffic is a vanity metric.
So, if not that, then what? I guess is marketers that are trying to figure out, but still have to like report my activity up to some level of impact. Because you told me 2 years ago, Rand, help me out.
I want to be really clear that I have empathy for and recognize the need for reporting and measurement. I don't think those things are dead. I'm criticizing and urging you to throw out attribution, but not measurement. So attribution would be, just to clarify the difference between these two things. Attribution would be Dan came to SparkToro's website initially because he listened to this podcast, and then he came back again after a Google search, and then he came back again after following us on Blue Sky and seeing a blog post. And then from that blog post, he went and signed up for a free account. And then 2 weeks later, he got this nurture email, and that nurture email led him to pay for an account. And so these things get this percentage of credit in the attribution model. That's dead. I am urging you to admit that that's dead because you cannot measure all of them. The most measurable ones are going to be the paid channels, and you will always over-index on paying, usually Google and Facebook, for the privilege of thinking you know where a transaction came from, when in fact what they're doing is just charging you money for sales that would have happened anyway. And you can see this in all the examples where people turn down their ad spend and 90% of the sales remain. I love the Airbnb example from a few years ago, right? Where they were like, oh, we shut off all our performance advertising and saw 95% of all those transactions still came through. And I would just urge you to be cautious. That's attribution. Measurement is saying we made 10 videos for LinkedIn. They collectively had this amount of reach. Here's the people that they reach, as sort of job titles, because LinkedIn will show you the job titles of people who saw your. And then our homepage traffic over the 6 weeks following the success of these 6 videos was X% higher than what we would have expected based on seasonality and organic growth. Well, boy, it sure looks like that is what's going on. And this is the frustration, because you can't prove that any one video view led to that person definitively going to your website. A lot of C-suite folks are throwing out that data and saying that doesn't prove anything. No, it doesn't prove anything, but it is how you have to measure. It's the same way you measure television advertising or radio advertising or billboards. It's 1955, Dan, and we throw up a billboard for Coca-Cola in Detroit, and same-store sales in Detroit over the next quarter lift 5%. So we throw up the same billboard in Chicago, and they get a 5% lift as well. So then we try it in Milwaukee, and then it works there too. And so we roll it out nationwide. That is measurement-based investing versus attribution-based investing. We can't prove that like any particular motorist driving by Coke billboard stopped at the convenience store and bought an extra 6-pack, but we see the lift, so we keep investing.
So the measurement obviously is important to see where you're getting traction and see what's working and what's not. The sort of credit-based approach that attribution forces, and then everything becomes direct response, last mile optimization versus how do we actually influence the market and grow our brand.
And how do you build a brand? You can't build a brand through direct response and bottom of funnel only. You can't build a brand through conversion. You have to build a brand top and middle of funnel. You have to build a brand in every part of the pinball machine.